Hi, welcome to another episode of Unique Moments where I talk about things from a unique perspective. And today I have a lovely guest, a very dear friend of mine.
Hi, people. Hi, everybody listening. Um, it's okay. This is quite different, but I'm excited to be here. I go by the name Prof. Most people call me Prof or Sabelo at work, well, especially at work. I find it hard to, like write a bio. Sometimes I find it hard to, like, introduce myself. I kind of have to think twice, um, because I do so many things. Just a quick rundown: on Mondays to Fridays, I'm a designer and a storyteller. And then at very odd hours, I make music and I write. I'm a poet and a lyricist. I'm an entrepreneur learning how not to fail. I'm also a watercolor artist. I'm a light bearer and a practicing human being. I'm somebody's son, a companion, and a father. I'm a listener and way more than I can actually mention. But right now, I'm a friend and I'm a guest on the Unique Moments podcast. So
Thank
it's
you. And
just
a
I'm just
wonderful,
gonna focus on being that.
okay, for today, even with your many hats, you many hats, many talents. And you are a wonderful friend. So, Prof actually lives in Africa and he's from Africa. And what we're going to be talking about today is in general music, but kind of um, like our life through music. And we're going to be sharing some songs that mean a lot to us, that maybe have some backstories. And that's one of the first things that we actually connected on. Very random
Hmm.
chance meeting. It's like the friends that you meet on Instagram that you've never met in real life, only he happens to
Hmm.
live like halfway across the world. So it's very
Literally halfway.
very interesting how we've stayed connected and stayed friends. I think we met in what 2019 or
2019.
2020 something. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, around then. Mm.
yeah, and we've stayed friends for so long, and yeah, very dear friend that I really cherish, and I'm excited to get into something that is very near and dear to both of our hearts, which is music at the heart of it. Listening, performing, creating, making music, and all that goes into that universal language. So, before
Hmm.
we get into it, I am going to pull a card for the episode from the Empathic Oracle deck today. Okay. Ooh, the card we pulled is Resistance. And I love this
Hmm.
card so much. Resistance, and then we got Heart Chakra on the bottom. And both of these cards actually have a heart in them. So um, I have a feeling that this is going to be a very heart centered episode. And just to read the card of Resistance, because we got to get into the cards. So it says, the choices I resist present the opportunity of surrender into growth. Oftentimes, lessons may seem to keep showing up that are reoccurring themes of choices that are uncomfortable. This discomfort can create a fierce resistance within to any change, not allowing the change to navigate the lesson that is representing itself as a teaching. Empaths learn best by having an energetic experience, and making a choice is where experience begins. When your life feels stuck, there may be a missing component of truth that impedes your progress forward. It's not easy to find your next destination when a page is missing from your energetic map. It takes courage to enter into the fear that binds your choice, but when you discover what awaits you beyond the fire, you will wonder what you allowed yourself to miss. This, you will wonder why you allowed yourself to miss this opportunity for growth and healing. Mm. I
Okay,
like that a lot.
very relevant. Um, I think
To
also
you?
the heart chakra one as well. I think I would lean more towards that one. Resistance has a negative connotation to it, but I think as well it's also a gift. Um,
Yeah.
like one time I realized that, or at least on my end, just let me just speak for myself. I spend so much time cringing. Why? I don't know. I honestly do not know. Just like, why are your jaws so tense? Just relax, dude. Nothing is gonna attack you. You're sitting here doing your work.
Right. Everything's fine.
You're having a beautiful day. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So I am currently going through I won't say I don't want to call it exactly, but for now I'll say a phase of transcending, and I have consciously asked that anything that is not serving me anymore, especially with my subconscious. I
Mm-hmm.
want that to come to the surface, and so that I can choose what to do with it. And yeah, this whole week has been that.
Yeah, that's powerful. And it's almost, I guess, in a sense, it's kind of like you're releasing the resistance in order to transcend, something that's not serving
Mm,
you. But also, you said
mm.
resistance has a negative connotation. It's funny because I was, speaking of music, I was listening to an album, actually. And are you familiar with James Baldwin, the author? I wouldn't
Yeah,
say poet, but author.
I've seen a couple of videos on Instagram of his few quotes. Haven't really delved deep into any of his work, but yeah, really powerful stuff.
Yeah, I found this album and it's called, let me find it. It's called No More Water, The Gospel of James Baldwin. And so that's why I clicked on it. And it's kind of
Hmm.
like a political radical kind of album. And through listening to that, they basically talk about how resistance is like your weapon, especially for black people. Like, the act of resistance is powerful in itself. And so I think it does have a
Mm,
connotation, like what a negative connotation, like what you resist persist. And like, why are you resisting? Just let
mm,
it flow, let it be. But when you flip it like that, like resistance can be powerful. I know that's not the way the card meant it, but that was just something that popped in my head because it's
mm,
like, the whole, no, I'm not going to go passively and peacefully. Like my act of resistance is my power, is my voice.
mm,
And so I think resistance can be used in like multiple ways, which is nice.
for sure. Okay. Yeah. There's, I think, I don't know who wrote this or when, but it sounds very old. Do not go quietly into the night.
Mm,
I don't know
I've
then
heard
what it
that.
says after that, but yeah, do not go quietly
But
into
don't
the
go
night.
quietly. That's all we need to know.
Yeah,
So, whatever you're resisting, stop resisting because
yeah.
nothing,
No, I think yesterday I think like I was saying, this whole week has just been that transcendence and every single moment has been a gift. And I think the thing I've done exceptionally well throughout the week is, just um, allowing myself to be as conscious and very selective with my thoughts,
that's
and
something I've been
choosing
practicing
what
as
I
well.
think. It's yeah. I don't know how to explain it. I don't have the words for it exactly right now, but
Hmm.
you know, it's such a powerful thing. It really, yeah, it really flips the coin for you if that's what you're looking for, and so I say all of that to say yeah, in terms of coming across resistance, yeah, I think this is just again another reminder. I'll say, and I'm really grateful for it to, it's just confirming more and more the things that I
Mm-hmm.
believe, or the things that I've asked to experience this week. So more gratitude.
Nice. Nice. Yes. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Okay, let's get into some music. Um, so we've each made a playlist of some songs that are kind of staples for many different reasons and different ways.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're just going to talk about it and discuss. Do you want to start us off with some songs that have some value to you?
Yeah. Okay. So I will be starting off with. Just give me a second.
Oh, you're
Okay,
okay.
I think this is a good moment to kind of mention the project that we did together.
Oh,
Mainly
yes, yes.
because one of the songs on here on my playlist is "Familiar Ground" by the Cinematic Orchestra. So
I haven't heard that.
and it's is anything Cinematic Orchestra. It's geez. So they yeah this particular song. So on our project, the Moments Experiment. The first song is "A Gust of Music," and I wrote that in. I couldn't possibly remember the year right now, but it was around 2015, 16 ish. And yeah, I wrote it to this song, "Familiar Ground" by by the Cinematic Orchestra, and so yeah, that's why the poem sounds the way it sounds. It's because of that song.
I don't know if I knew that. Now I have to go back and listen to the song because I think I would have listened to the song. That's cool.
Yeah, you have to like it's yeah. I've written most of my work as a poet, especially as a poet. Actually, any time I sit down to write, there's music playing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
That's
think
how I
okay,
am.
just in general. Yeah, if I'm doing dishes, there's music.
There's music playing.
Chores,
Literally,
music.
I wake up to music. Like when I'm in the shower, there's music playing. When I'm cooking, there's music playing. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing absolutely anything, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading, there's music playing. Like if I'm editing a podcast, there is music playing. Like I can't even fathom people who like don't don't do that. Like, what do you mean your life doesn't have a soundtrack? Like, I have playlist among upon playlist because I just to like, why would I do this task in silence when I could do it with music? Like it makes
Yeah,
sense. It
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
I was saying, you know, um, for me, music also then becomes meditation on the one end,
Mm,
and then it also becomes um, a a force, uh, an input, right? A raw material in terms of energy that I
mm-hmm,
take and alchemize into something else, like the poem, "A Gust of Music," and so many other things I've done. I take the feelings I'm getting or the frequencies I'm getting from the song, and I'm fashioning them into something that's mostly physical and immediate.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I always aim, especially when I'm creating art, I always aim to kind of embed that frequency that I'm feeling in that moment. And then just going on a bit of a tangent here, and that's why I find it difficult to be given a topic to write on,
Yeah.
because I'm not feeling that in that particular moment. And then I'm wondering if, okay, cool, can I find a raw material to, alchemize and turn into something meaningful for that particular topic. So yeah.
And that's also one thing I love about music, specifically with the project that we did. Listening to music and creating music are two very different vibes, two very different things. And I like what you said about sort of alchemizing, like, because words by themselves, are very powerful and they're very meaningful. Music is made up of words and sound, and I think they equally have an effect on your mood and how you feel, and when you listen to it. But I think
Mm,
when you're creating, specifically when we were making that project, it is like almost like a piece of you is now in this like tangible musical form, whether like you wrote it or you
mm,
came up with the beat. It's like I'm outputting, what is inside of me. So that's really cool. And
mm,
then just the mood factor in general, like how music is so powerful because it has the ability, like you said, like if you're not vibing with something, like it's kind of hard to relate to that. Like I'm sure the word
mm.
love, like you could find a connection, whatever the connection is. But I think music is so powerful because it has the ability to literally almost, I've had this experience so many times where it's like this song is exactly how I'm feeling, or like this phrase, it might not even be the whole song, but this lyric,
Mm,
this one bass
mm.
line, like that's it. Like there's something special about that I don't think anything does.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first song that I wrote was If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys, and
Hmm.
really that whole album. But this song is important to me, and I don't know if my memory is serving me correctly, but I feel like this was almost my beginning, like introductory to music, if that even makes sense. Like I have a memory
Mm-hmm.
of this song playing in the car, and I'm listening to it with my mom, and I don't know how old I am, but she's like almost like feeding me the words before she says the words so that I can sing along. And so I just
Oh
remember
wow.
us doing that to that song, and then like that just became my favorite song, and I was like immediately I have to learn this song. And then just ended up loving Alicia Keys anyway. But that memory just sticks with me because I'm like, I didn't even know she's literally singing about like heartbreak. Like if I ain't got you, then I ain't got nothing. Like, like powerful
Hmm.
words, very, very powerful words. And I connect with
Mm.
words in music, I think, first and foremost. But I had to be like maybe elementary school. I had no idea what I was singing about, but it was like I felt it. Like the weight of it was just so powerful. And so ever since then, music has just been this energy, like this thing for me that's like, wow, that's something that I can go to.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a beautiful memory. Um,
Yeah.
it it really puts you like, yeah. I just love that you have such an intimate memory with your mom. Connecting through music.
Mhm.
Yeah, I for me, being able to listen to the same songs with the people that matter most to me is it's such a gift, because I don't always get to do that.
Mhm.
Mainly because of my choice of genre. So
I was
that's
just about to ask, do you
yeah,
think
that's
it's your taste?
hey, yeah. There's some songs on the playlist as well that I think a lot of people might not even have heard the artist. Some of them I don't even know how to pronounce the title or even the artist's name.
Mhm.
you know, but it's yeah, I still enjoy it nonetheless, you know. And there are some songs that I couldn't put in the playlist because of that. Like it's the title is in Chinese, and I don't know how to type Chinese, so
Yeah, I have a few songs like that that are in other languages for sure.
yeah. But Alicia Keys, yeah, that's yeah. I'm like really absorbing like this memory that you
Yeah.
just
And
shared, and
she's
it's yeah, it's so beautiful.
yeah, she's all throughout this playlist actually. I think my beginning like I have Diary by her I put on this playlist and then like just kind of that era of music is like obviously like that's what my mom listened to, so it was like by design I was listening to it. I don't think I really developed like listening to my own music until I was in like maybe middle school. But looking back on it, like
Mm,
I'm very, very grateful. Like she introduced me like other songs I have on here, Daughters by John Mayer or Closer by
mm,
Goapele, like Pray by CC
mm,
Winans. Like those are not songs that I would have thought to look up, but it's like now those are songs I play like quite frequently and they have that like nostalgic feeling. Like I don't know if it's the same in Africa, but like the music in the early 2000s and the 90s like it just hit so different. Like it just felt
mm-hmm,
like they were on a different vibration and like they were really singing going back to the heart chakra. They were really singing like from the heart and like creating from the
mm,
heart. And yeah, yeah, a lot of those songs just resonate with me for sure. And I'm happy that I know them intimately. I'm happy that I know them.
mm. Lovely. You mentioned, that the song was kind of like your gateway into music.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and you only discovered like your own taste, later on. Um, yeah, I also kind of I really relate to that as well. For many years, it's like, oh, okay, this is what's playing in the house. I'm listening to that, and here and there I have favorites, but I didn't start owning music for myself until I was in high school.
Mm.
Yeah, until I was in high school, and that's particularly on my playlist here. It's that's some some most of the underground hip hop songs that you find on here, like Let's Take a Walk by Master Ace. That really got me through some parts of my high school, and I think around then that's when I was like, okay, this music thing, like I'm learning what it is that I like and what feels good for me to listen to.
Would you say like your taste has changed since high school, or do you think you still have kind of the same musical taste for genre and it's just kind of evolved?
I think, and this is the first time I get to actually say this now. Yeah, I love music, and my taste is not changing per se, it's just expanding.
Mm.
And with expansion comes uh less frequent. You start to visit some of your favorite songs less frequently because you're finding new favorite songs, and you kind of go through this times where you feel nostalgic for a particular song, like on if okay on again on my playlist there's a South African jazz song here, uh, titled Dipororo, by Sipho Kumete. He's Yeah, that's for me, that marks a time in my life when I got into jazz
Mhm.
music. And yeah, um, yeah, and so whenever I get nostalgic about that time when I got into jazz, I think back to Sipo and some of the other songs I was listening to around that time. And the specific memory for me that comes up there, I was doing laundry one time. I took a very, it's not a gap year, it's a gap years that I took.
Multiple.
Yeah, against my parents' will, of course. And the thing I did the most around that time was watching cartoons. Took a lot of naps, read a lot, listened to a lot of music, and did a lot of chores. Like a lot of chores. I basically ran our household,
I'm sure they had
and
no
that in an
complaints about that.
oh, of course they did. Of course they did. But yeah, I was doing laundry, and I was outside busy hanging it, and the song came on, and for the first time I felt like my head was really clearing up. Felt like I could think, right? It was something about just the way the melodies hit me. It wasn't loud and in your face like most of the underground hip hop that I was listening to. Again,
Yeah.
also around that time, uh, it was both loud and soft. It felt like I felt a sensation of the sky clearing up, and clouds were dissipating, and the mental fog that I've had, and I think quite frankly for many years, started to clear up just in that moment. And from there onwards, like, yeah, I I I I wouldn't be able to talk to you about some of the classics in jazz, or what album came out when, but I've for that I've always looked for jazz in all the other genres that I listen to. If there's even a hint of jazz, like, yeah, it'll sound good to me. And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's where for me, I think that's when my musical taste started to like really take like the roots of it started to go deeper.
That's really beautiful. Your description of like the clouds lifting and like just reminds me also of how healing music can be, like very, very
Mm,
much so. And yeah, that's just really nice. I feel like I got like a little like residual of that energy while you were just explaining it. I'm just now getting into jazz and not heavy, heavy. Like I've been listening to a lot of like Miles Davis and like some Coltrane. And then
hmm
there's this artist that I really like. It's not on this playlist, but I think it's worth mentioning because their stuff is very good. It's like the artist is Berlioz, Berlioz. I don't know if you heard of them, but um, essentially they make jazz music, but it's like
hmm
paired with speaking, like not necessarily poetry, but it's like they'll have a loop of maybe someone saying something. I'll send you some songs, but that reminded me of that. But
Okay.
the thing I want to talk about is as music being healing. Um, like for me, I think music is like snapshots, like in my memory. And I think, like I said, I first got into it or got into my own music in middle school, but like moving around a bunch. Like, I was born in North Carolina and then lived in California for a little bit and lived in Texas, where I live now. And the great
hmm
thing about that was I feel like I got to experience vastly different music taste. Um, like
Mm,
from all over. Like in California, one of the songs I have on my playlist is "Tell Me When to Go" by E40, and that's
mm,
like Bay Area music. And I just remember like one of my grandfather, who's no longer here, but he loved E40 so much. And I remember getting to California and I'm like, what is this? Because it sounds very, very different. Like Bay Area Cali music is like, it just has a different feel, a different vibe to it.
mm,
But it's like it's kind of like not party music, but it just sounds different. And I'm an R&B girl. Like that's my genre. Like I love R&B, hip hop. Like I kind of
mm,
stay in that wheelhouse and that realm, but a few of these songs that I have on here actually remind me of being in California, and which is why I think music is like a personal timestamp, and it can be healing because like now when I listen to the music, it does make me think about my grandfather, and not in like a sad way, but it's like wow, like we have that memory now. So I
mm.
have that on here, and then Sam Cooke. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but I have a couple of his songs, and my grandma was a fan of Sam Cooke. And so when I lived in California, she would walk me to school and she would play Sam Cooke.
Wow.
And that was another one of those like he's an older artist, you know, like I don't know if I ever would have discovered him on my own. And so like now,
Mm,
like I love his music, I love his voice, and it's like that was my connection to those people. And then I get to Texas and it's very different, like very pop heavy, very radio heavy,
mm,
very like, you
mm.
know, listening to popular music. So I think my taste has definitely changed over the years, of what I've listened to and what I liked. Like I think um heavily into commercial music. Like a lot of the other songs I have on my playlist are You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift, you know, Miley
Mm-hmm.
Cyrus, Baby by
Yeah.
Justin Bieber, Single Ladies by Beyonce, like, you know, the hit songs. And maybe that's just adolescence, you
Yeah.
know, you're listening to like what everybody else is listening to. But a
Yeah.
very commercial taste. And now I'm like, what's the most niche music that I can find? Like that's what I gravitate to now. I'm like, I like the artists that nobody
Yeah.
knows, you know?
Yeah. I think it's, you know, finding or discovering like an artist that, you know, most people don't know about in your area is, I think, and if you love doing that, I think that speaks a lot to just how much, you know, you appreciate music as a person. I think it also means, you know, for me, it kind of points towards, um, you know, being an empath as well. Because
Mhm.
I think one of the things that might be prompting this is, hey, I'm looking for different frequencies. I'm looking for to expand, um, you know, my intake of different perspectives in the
Mhm.
world. I'm looking for new stories to, you know, to absorb. And yeah, um, that's so beautiful. Like, you know, music being a timestamp and a marker of all the places you've been, and just how, you know, having a connection to each place that you've lived through music. That's really beautiful for me on my end. Like for most of my early life, I've lived in Woodbank, so you know, but
For the people who don't
I
know, is that like a major city? Is it a small town? Is it a rural area?
it's a small big place. I cannot explain Woodbank. It's a small big place, but it's so it's positioned very differently. You know, it's let me just put it this way. So the major city here is Joburg. Um, it's odd to me that it's not the capital, but yeah, Joburg is If Jill Scott came to South Africa, she would definitely come to Joburg.
Okay. She's
FKJ
also on my
came. She
playlist.
he A long walk. Yeah,
Yes.
I
Yes.
saw that. I was like, that's a song we have in common. Yeah, so Joburg is a major city, and then there's also Durban, also a major city, a very popular tourist destination. And the people who come from Durban, they be like, it's holiday season. All of the Joburgers are coming to the beach, type of a thing. So Witbank is kind of like a middle point, or yeah, you pass through Witbank depending on how you choose to go about it. There's a lot of places and towns and cities, that you have to go through Witbank if you are going to Joburg, or
Hmm.
if you are coming to our capital here in Pretoria. So it's a very industrial place, and that's why, um, you know I suppose like kind of like what I said, when you are in a certain place and you're like, okay, I'm looking for niche, genres and artists that nobody knows about. You know, yeah, it's very industrial. People from Witbank have a certain way of thinking. Their careers go in a particular kind of way. Everybody kind of ends up working at one or the other
Hmm.
of the mines around. You know, so yeah, that's Witbank. Um, the first time I left Witbank on my own, that was prompted by the very first song I have on my playlist, "A Brighter Day." Um, and you that's that and on your playlist you have a song by Kirk Franklin,
Yeah.
"Brighter Day."
Called Brighter Day.
I was Yeah, I was like, okay, wow, this is interesting. Like, what memories do you have with that particular song?
So my memories, specifically, two things come to mind is like cleaning in church. And so obviously Kirk Franklin, he's a gospel singer, and
Mm,
I didn't grow
mm,
up in church. I was not like that by any means, but when I went, and a few other songs that I kind of grouped were artists like Marvin Sapp, Donnie McClurkin, but Brighter Day
mm,
specifically. The memories that I have are just like being in church, like watching the older people be filled with the Holy Ghost and like, do whatever they do with their
mm,
spirit and just praising God and worshiping and
mm,
praise music and, being in the pews when I didn't want to be there. I don't know what they're talking about with the verses of the Bible. Like I have no idea. I just want to go home, and my mom's talking to everyone after church, and again being filled with the music in church, like that was one of the best things,
mm.
like going there. I don't care what the message was, but like what are we singing today?
Uh,
And so
yeah,
church,
wow.
but also cleaning, like we would clean every Sunday. I don't know, my mom just, I don't know if she made up this thing or if this was just like whatever, but every Sunday, I think up until like high school, we would have, like, we couldn't watch TV, couldn't play the game, couldn't do anything before 6 p.m. And we were cleaning. And for whatever reason, we had to play gospel music because it was Sunday. And so I also associate that song, Brighter Day, because my mom loved Kirk Franklin. And so
Mm-hmm,
that song reminds me of being in church and then cleaning to gospel
mm,
music, which is basically me feeling like I'm at church all day. We go to church on Sunday, listen to the gospel music, and then we can't do anything until 6 p.m. on Sunday. And so we're back
jeez.
listening to gospel music and cleaning. So that's the
Yeah.
memory that I have. What about you?
Um, I'll get into like the particular song on my playlist, but like when you're talking about church and gospel music, I think for me that might gospel music is the I'll say the first thing I heard in terms of music, because my mom as well, like Sundays, it was radio time, with, they were broadcasting sermons, they would read a verse, pray, have people come share their testimonials, or testimonies, not testimonials. Ooh, my mom
Same
would
thing.
be furious. Like, I taught you better than that.
Right.
Um, yeah, so and gospel music would be playing, would be blasting through the house. And again, at the time, I was very young. I don't have a preference, not much, so cool. There's a just kind of going on a little bit of a tangent there. There's a one gospel song that I put in there. It's titled Umphefumlo Wam, by this. He was very very big in his time. Ulund. He the title of the song means my spirit or my soul, and
Mm,
I was actually, while I was putting together the playlist, I read the lyrics, and I'm like, okay, very simple lyrics, just repeating throughout, but the weight of the words, I understand why I felt, the way I did about the song, even as a kid,
yeah.
right? And basically, I say all of that to come back and say that, yeah, gospel music is probably the first thing I heard, as a child, and it's kind of my segue as well into, into music. Although I don't go to church anymore, I don't listen much to gospel music either. um, but it is a part of me, and yeah, a very fond part of me, to be honest, if I'm being honest. Yeah, saying so, A Brighter Day, Ronnie Jordan. uh, there's the original, and then there's the remix with Mos Def. um, both very beautiful. I would not be able to choose between the one or the other. um, Very beautiful pieces of music and art. A Brighter Day. So in 2014, um, I was just about, I had just about dropped out of college, because I was studying electrical engineering there, and I was like, one day I was just sitting in class, I was like, I don't belong here,
Mhm.
and I just dropped out. Obviously, my parents were not happy about that. I kind of
Right.
eased them into that. I had to lie a little bit.
Right.
Mom,
You
I'm
did
sorry.
what?
Yeah, you know. So, yeah, I was, and that's when I, like, discovered the song, "A Brighter Day," and the lyric in the song, like, it's a jazz song, very instrumental. Uh, and I don't know who the vocalist is. I must go and find this person. Um, the lyric is, "A brighter day came my way. I had to decide if I was going to move on, and I packed my things and I went on my way." Type, somewhere along those
Wow.
lines.
So you wait, you
Yeah,
heard the song after, or like this song was like the catalyst for you knowing you needed to drop out?
it was after. It was after.
Nice.
So where the song, like, really took meaning for me was then afterwards. I had applied while I was still, in college. I applied to this camp, to this organization. They call it Activate. It's basically a social change, organization, and and I got accepted to, come to camp. I was excited. I told my parents, and my mom was like, "You dropped out of college." and now you want to go to this camp that we know nothing about, and you know, over my dead body, basically, is what
Right,
they were
right.
saying. And I said, oh, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. And it was ridiculous to me to think about, like, why would you not allow me to go to, this is such a good
Right,
opportunity.
right.
And it's all expenses paid. Basically, for 2 weeks, you don't have to look after me. Like, I like
You're like, this
that's,
is a
that's such an
win-win. I
opportunity
don't
for,
see I don't see the problem here.
yeah. So, and I was like, you know what? I'm going. And there I was on a Friday. Um, I I just had to get to the bus stop. That's all I needed to do. And I was like, okay, I don't have transport money. I don't drive. I look. I literally packed my bags on instruction of the song, right? Packed my bags, and there I was trying to figure out which friend of mine am I gonna call to drive me to the bus stop, or if am I gonna have to beg the taxi drivers around to, to get me there. I was gonna do anything to get there, and I was gonna get there. And it that moment, and just as I was thinking, about that, it showed me that, okay, even though I would, we tend to have a difference of opinion with my parents, they still love me and they still care. My
Right.
dad pulls up. He used to he worked in Middleburg, which was like the next city from Woodbank. No, Middleburg is not a city; it's a town. So he worked in Middleburg, but his company's headquarters is here, close to Joburg, in Boksburg. So Witbank is again a middle way between Middleburg and Boksburg. So there were some days where he had to uh, go report in at the headquarters before
Mm-hmm.
going back to Middleburg. So that day he woke up really early to drive to you know to to Boksburg. And as I had just finished packing up, I was all dressed. He pulls up because it's on his way back to Middleburg. He pulls up still mad at me for, dropping out of school and then wanting to go to this camp
Camp.
that we know nothing. Yeah, like we don't even know what this thing is. He pulled up and he's like, I don't agree with what you're doing, but here's some money. Go. Right. And in that moment, I understood that, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys are big softies. You really do care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
and yeah, a brighter day, literally a brighter day, like going to that camp saved my life in so many ways, because then I started to understand that, there are many different paths in life, and nothing is impossible. You can do it. There's something about um, people from Gauteng. Witbank is in Pumalanga, and Gauteng is just the next province from there. Something about people from Gauteng, they just believe in themselves much more than, I don't know how to put it. Like, for them, like, things come easy. Like, they are very open to opportunities, and
Mm-hmm.
they do get opportunities. That's why everybody travels from wherever they come from to come to Joburg, right? With everybody here in Joburg is starstruck, like, yeah, I'm gonna be the next big thing, and that kind of a thing. So yeah, a brighter day came my way.
Wow. That's a phenomenal story. I'm glad, like, your dad came through for you, and then it wasn't just like, oh, you're out on your own.
Yeah,
So,
I'm grateful too.
what are some other songs I have on here?
I'm curious about Like You with Bow Wow and Sierra.
Okay, so do you know those songs?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
My
okay.
sister used to listen to them a lot.
Oh.
A lot of the
um,
songs on your playlist are my older sister's songs. So
oh, that's so funny. Wait, how old is she?
she's what about 4 years older than me.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
She was in high school at the time, and just to give you a little bit of context, just quickly, um, yeah, I still was in that phase of not having a personal preference in terms of music,
Mm-hmm.
and there she is. She now has her own preferences in terms of music, so she's listening to R. Kelly,
Mm-hmm. He's on my
Sierra.
playlist too. I know we canceled him, but he made
I,
some good music.
he did. He honestly, Trapped in the Closet was the first thing that hooked me about R. Kelly. To be honest, I was like,
Yes.
this is a brilliant concept. Like, wow.
Super
But
brilliant.
anyway,
More on that in a second.
yeah.
So like you, okay. So I put this on there. So, I told you I briefly lived in North Carolina, and so I was living with my grandmother at the time and with my sister. And my grandma, she was kind of like the neighborhood grandma. Like everybody's kids would go to her house, and so it's like a bunch of kids in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And when we would come
Mm-hmm.
home from school, we would watch 106 in Park. Like that was the thing to watch. AJ and Free,
Mm-hmm.
like music videos, that and MTV, but I don't think MTV was quite around then yet. But watching 106 in Park, and that song just stood out to me because I remember me and my sister like would try to sing the chorus. I guess it's the chorus or the hook or whatever it is. The like
Mm-hmm.
it seems like they do it in one breath, and like we would just always try to get it in one breath and like see who could do it. But that song it just
Yeah.
reminds me of that era of like music videos when it was so popular. And I remember like we would always want to see, like, I think if they did like a top 10, like, top 10 countdown. Wow, that's jogging my memory. That was a
Mm-hmm.
good freaking show. Like a good show to just showcase music. But that was one of the songs
Mm-hmm.
that I want to say either stayed on the top 10 or on the top 5 or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think the value there is just that it again with the nostalgia. It's like that song, and then like the songs that are kind of like in that same era, Just a Friend by Mario, songs by Neo, like
Mm-hmm.
those songs it just felt like childhood. Like I have not experienced half of the things that these people are talking about in these songs, but again, when I
Mm-hmm.
just feel it, and it was just like catchy, it was vibey. That was around the time that I think I started like, singing songs and looking up lyrics and being intentional about, okay, I like this. Why do I like this song? And not necessarily questioning it to death, but just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this song makes me feel good. And like making it a point to memorize, the lyrics and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was when I was starting to realize how much I really, really loved music.
Wow. Yeah, that song is. Those very recently, I came across it in my liked songs on Spotify, and that first part, I just started looping that over and over and over and over and over.
It's
I was like,
good.
I could make this into an entire song, just that part,
It's good.
just before they actually start singing. But it's a beautiful song.
Now you
You were talking
say,
about memorizing.
oh, go ahead.
I was saying you were talking about memorizing the lyrics. It's again, I think maybe it's an R&B thing. My sister, I think most girls in in the from the late 90s to the early 2000s, they had what they would call incwadi yamaculo, meaning a book full of songs.
Oh, yes.
These So they would sit with their ear on the radio whenever their favorite song comes on, and they would transcribe word for word. And of course, there's something about is there some sort of a written pass that vocalists get, especially with R&B? They're like, you don't have to sing the whole word. We're not here for the clarity.
Yes.
And so somebody is gonna transcribe the lyrics a little bit wrong. So they would have to go and compare with each other, like, oh no, this person is not saying that in the song. They're saying this. Oh, cool. And they, like, fix their little mistakes. But yeah, it's interesting. Just like, I think most girls from around that time were, I suppose, practicing to be songwriters at the very least.
Yeah.
And that was just
Singers,
interesting for me to
songwriters.
realize.
Yeah. And it's just
Yeah.
the music was so catchy. Like going back to the whole Trapped in the Closet, like one that was just a musical project within
Mm,
itself, but R. Kelly as an artist, forget everything else. Like R. Kelly as an artist, I put some other
mm,
songs of his on my playlist. Step in the Name of Love, Happy People, like
mm,
those just remind me of joyous times. Like it just
mm,
feels good in your soul. Like it feels good in your spirit to, and I just have memories of
mm,
that. Like and live for the days where they had the songs that had like instructions, like the dance instructions or like whatever. Like I
oh,
think
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's Happy People. I'm not sure, but like Beyonce had a few of the
Yeah, it is
songs
happy
where they
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just like just good music, like just feel good music. Like it makes me want to like go to a cookout or like a family reunion or like something or all the families like getting
Mm,
together and gathering, like takes me back to like that
yeah.
time where music like brought it. Music still brings people together, but in that kind of a way.
Mm. You reminding me of a song. It's not on either of our playlists, but it's a song by Jill Scott. She's describing what a cookout looks like, and what it's like, when her entire family is there. Um, I think here in South Africa we have our own version of that. We call it a braai. Um, yeah, and I think there's so many similarities in those experiences, both the cookout and the braai experience. I think we could literally swap cousins and relatives like cards, and nobody would feel out of place.
Yeah. And I think that's also just like a black thing, like no matter where we
Mm,
come from, I think, we all have that I want to say blackness like in us.
definitely, definitely.
I wanted to ask you, I didn't put this song on my playlist, but The Light by Common, um, that
Mm,
that song holds a special place for me. And not to get into much of like a sentimental story, but like someone dedicated that song for me, like a love interest. And it was very
mm.
innocent, like very like, middle school, but it's like he's saying like he's speaking some powerful things in that song. So I'm just like,
Very,
wow.
very powerful
Like
things.
wow. So I want to know how that made it to your playlist.
The light. I think just the title on its own, is something to sit and relish. And just actually the very recently, earlier this year, there's a YouTube channel called Digging the Greats.
Hmm.
uh this guy literally breaks down these songs, and he recreates the song, and explains to you like the significance behind some of the way the song is made,
Hmm.
and yeah, that further deepened my connection to the song, knowing, just, I think it was produced by Kanye, I
I
think.
didn't know that.
yeah, and so they sampling. I think it's Bobby Cladwell, the same guy on "What You Won't Do for
Do
Love."
for
Excuse
love.
my
You
singing.
got it
I didn't
every
mean to
day.
torture you guys. Yeah, same guy. They sampled that vocal of his and put it on. So for me, at the time, I was dating this girl. She's from Middleburg. Um, yeah, long distance. I think I've always been in long distance relationships.
Mm,
Um,
same here.
yeah, they do hit different, and they. But anyway, so yeah, I was dating this girl, and uh, I think even that we started dating while I was in high school, but by then I had started in college. And so I'm walking downtown with my headphones on, and so she was still in high school at the time. So whenever they get into exam season, her mom would take her phone, so I wouldn't be able to contact her for a couple of weeks until the exams are done. And so yeah, and there I was listening to the song, and Common is speaking very deeply about somebody he cares about,
Yeah.
or somebody he's in a relationship with, and I'm like, yeah, me too, even me, you know. um, yeah, I think it's also a thing of like I think Alan Watts would have a very different opinion of this, but like I've always taken love very seriously. For me, love was never a toy thing.
Hmm.
In a sense of like to have somebody to say, "Hey, I love you," to and the person say, "I love you too." Having that love being reciprocated is, yeah, it's a blessing. It's a gift in so many ways. And yeah, the words that Common is speaking in the song, I'm like, this is my version, my highest ideal for love,
For love, yeah. It's a
at the
very beautiful
moment.
song.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, that's the light.
Nice. Nice.
There's one other thing, like again, like music becomes this force. I think so. There was a time where just before I transitioned into high school, or just that period where going from, so okay, you and I still don't really understand how school is structured over there,
Hmm.
but we have primary, secondary, and high school, and in a lot of cases, it's literally just primary and then high school.
Mm.
That's how we do it, right? So from grade 1 to grade 7, that's primary school basically. And
Okay.
primary school is segmented into two, where from grade 4 to grade 7, that's secondary school, but they just kind of lump it all together because you're still
Interesting.
wet in the noodle. Yeah. And then from grade 8 all the way to grade 12, you're in high school. So yeah, from I think around grade 6 to grade 9, I started becoming more aware of music. And there was this, uh, we, yeah, there was transport that we went and came back from school with, and the guys in there were all my sister's age. They were all in high school, and they listened to house music. So house music here in South Africa is like an everyday thing. Like yeah, it's here. It's bigger than R&B, right? If
Oh,
you're in
really?
in a club, the safest thing you can do as a DJ, just play house music. You should be fine, right? Yeah, you should be fine. So yeah, so yeah, I was kind of, also kind of getting into it. A lot of my classmates were listening to house music, and they were dancers as well, and they were the coolest people ever.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to be like them. So I was like, yeah, now I'm gonna start listening to house music as well, and I'm gonna learn how to dance. And that never actually happened. I nearly became somebody totally different. I I kid you not. I nearly became somebody totally different,
Isn't that funny how
and
life
that's when
works?
it's 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 peculiar and particular,
Mhm.
because around that time I excuse me, my voice is cracking up. Around that time I met Stealth, transitioning into high school in grade 8, and yeah, he was all out hip hop already by then. He 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 sagged his school pants, although like the teachers always had a problem with that, and he was always rebellious. I was like, the audacity that this guy has, I have to befriend him in some way, and so that's how I started listening to hip hop. Literally, it was a literal chance thing, that I got into hip hop through Stealth.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, there's one song, or there's a lot of them that I could have put in here in terms of the house music that I used to listen to, especially around that time. But you know, songs like "Set Your Mind Free," "Something About You." It's old school classical house music. It's not like pumpy like a lot of mainstream music. Like I think the whole world now knows I'm a piano to be like a South African thing. So if you've ever heard a piano song, it's very groovy, very pumpy, very energetic. This kind of house music was very laid back, in a lot of cases very jazzy as well, but still quite groovy at the same time. So, that's also like a part of me that I don't think I could be able to erase.
Yeah.
Specifically this one song, "Something About You." So we're in our transport. You know uh, we're, we're being taken back home from school, and the lady who used to drive us decides to take a different route for some reason that day. And that day, I'm being driven through a part of Witbank that I have never seen, and it's so beautiful. Um, I don't know if you just try and picture this. Like, I'm laying at the back of a VW microbus, and I'm looking at trees outside the window. I'm literally laying next to the subwoofer. uh, Literally laying next to the subwoofer, and I'm seeing the tops of trees, right? And they're just passing by like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And the song is just playing. Like, it is a very groovy song, but it's not hard hitting in your ear. So that's how I was able to get along with the subwoofer there. So yeah, that's one of the songs that have come to they've made my life through high school bearable, in many
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. For me, that's for in middle school. So we have I guess elementary is like first through fifth, and then middle school is six, seven, eight, and then high school is 9 through 12. But middle school for me
Okay.
was like Kid Cudi. Like that was my I feel like he got me
Hmm.
through whatever trying time that was. So I had just moved. I moved to Texas in the 6th grade. And so it wasn't like I was
Hmm.
completely abandoning everything that I knew because, I wasn't like that established, but it was still, very new, new place, new school, new friends, new everything. And
Mm.
I think there was just a lot going on. Like, I don't know if I was just a moody preteen or like what, but I remember when I discovered Kid Cudi's music and like Man on the Moon, it was just like, it just felt like my savior had come. like, like
Wow.
listening to his songs,
Yeah.
like it was just like, wow, like this is music. And I think if you listen to Kid Cudi in those early stages, like Day and Night, Man on the Moon 2, Mr. Rager, like all of
Hmm.
that, I think you got it. Like that was a very specific time, and it was just like you were either a loner, a stoner, or both. And like at the time, I wasn't a stoner, but not yet. But I think there was like loneliness there. Like I had friends, but I'm generally like I'm a recluse. I'm an introvert. I like being alone. I love my alone time. But there's something
Hmm.
about being in adolescence and being alone. It feels like this is not right. Like, like I'm not supposed to like be alone. Everybody else has friends, but like
Mm.
there again,
Mm.
there's my solace in music, and like listening to his albums and his music just really like helped me get through those times for sure.
Wow. 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 The closest I relate to that is Nas's "I Can."
And that's a, I
Um,
know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. I
that's
love that song.
jam and a half. Jam and a half. Like it's so yeah. It's that. It's also Quell's. And I didn't put the song in here, but yeah, there was. Oh, there's one Quell song, "Chicago Barbecue." It's a very long song. It's a 15-minute song. He
Oh,
raps for
wow.
the first 4 minutes, and then after that, the beat just loops over and over again. And it's one of the most beautiful things. I remember just laying on the couch, just drifting away to that song, and it would take the stress off from. I was not popular in high school at all, and we are not one of the popular kids. High school can be a bit grueling, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I can totally relate to that. I never got into Kid Cudi. That's how you pronounce
Mm.
his name.
Yeah, Kid
So I
Cudi,
was afraid to.
Cutter.
Kid Cudi. Who's Cudi?
No,
But
it's Kid
yeah,
Cudi.
okay, no, it's a beautiful, yeah, like finding solace through music. It's yeah,
It's
that's
been
again that's why for me music is this music in and of itself is my savior, guys. I won't lie to
Yeah.
you. That's
No, it is. Same here.
I yeah I wouldn't have made it without music.
Same
Never would
here.
have made it. Okay, I
There
just
you go.
butchered
Again.
that.
But you know you got it. When the frequencies are here, the vibes are here. We never would have made it. Would have lost it all. But now I see
Yeah.
that you were there for me. Music has always been there, will always be there.
Hmm. It's
So,
beautiful.
what kind of music are you into now? Like, I know our tastes have
Mm.
evolved. Right now, I'm into making playlists. So I'll make a playlist specifically maybe for the season or like for a mood or what have you, and then I'll kind of just
Hmm.
alternate those. And so, like I said, I've been listening to a lot of Miles Davis, Coltrane, Frank Ocean all the time. Cleo Soul, I've been listening to.
Mm.
John Mayer, I've been listening to a lot lately. And who else have I been listening to? Mm, Charlotte Day Wilson, I've been listening to Daniel Caesar, Doechii,
Mm.
Drake, even though that's now a little questionable. But I don't know. I don't believe in the whole canceling an artist kind of thing. Like, I get it. We should hold people accountable to the things they do. But
Mm.
even maybe
Mm.
that's a different conversation. But like, who are we to hold people accountable for their actions? Like, I get the solidarity of it
Mm.
all. Like, we're going to stop streaming their music because they're a bad person. But my thing is, and I don't know if this is just a trait, like I can separate the artist from the art because like if we're going to be frank about
mm,
it, all these artists, whether it's a painter, whether it's a singer, whether it's a producer, whether it's whoever, like you show me one artist that is not troubled in some way. Like that's why they're great. That's why they have great products. Like I'm not excusing bad behavior and not to be
mm,
on a
mm,
soapbox for a little bit. I'm not excusing bad behavior, but what I'm saying is we as normal
mm,
humans have our things. We have our trauma, we have our baggage, we have our past, whatever. And so
mm,
who are we to say these people who deliver us great works of art, like their
mm,
shortcomings and their wrongdoings, like we have to, disown the art because like that's unacceptable. Like I'm sure a lot of the things that happen to us or like, is probably unacceptable, but we're not putting out a product for someone to say, let me look at your character. Like no, let's bring it back to
mm,
focusing on the art because that's what they made. They took that, they transmuted it, they transcended all of
mm,
whatever they're going through to give us this precious song. So the least we could do is
mm.
listen to it and appreciate it. And that's my 2 cents, and that's what I think about it. So that's what I've been listening to lately.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay, just before I go into what's buzzing in my headphones. Yeah, like that's such a controversial, topic, to get into. But like, I think it requires also a level of maturity to like really like engage, this kind of a topic. And people like, I don't know, like most of the world is just like we love you until we don't.
Yeah, especially in
And yeah,
entertainment.
yeah, and then they're very quick to, to like you're saying, cancel somebody. But I think, if we really care, about other human beings, our first response at the least should be, is this person okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, you did some fucked up shit in the past, or maybe you are still doing that. Like, how do we help you?
Right.
Right? How do we help you? Let's get you out of that so you can continue to make this beautiful music, and and be well as
Mm-hmm.
well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not for canceling people at all.
Yeah. Like y'all
Um,
can't tell me Kanye West
ra-
didn't make some of the greatest music of all time. I'm sorry. Like you can't convince me. You
yeah,
can't.
I don't listen much to Kanye, but they have been, there's a slow jams with what's his face, Jamie Foxx and Twista.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Never Let You Down. I don't like Jay Z's verse on that song because I'm like,
Mm.
what are you talking about? You seem to be going off on your own little tangent, but that's okay. But specifically JIV, like that's one of the songs that really made me understand that poetry does belong with music. It's, yeah, he definitely deserves to be the first spoken word artist Grammy winner
Mm.
in that regard, you know. But anyway, what I'm listening to, let me catch you up very quickly. Okay, so um, I'm currently listening to a lot of Clear Soul as well. Well, let me
Mm-hmm.
not say a lot of, but she is in my playlist. Know That You Are Loved.
Yeah, I love that song.
Uh, yeah, Young Love. There's
Love
a
that song. I think
painful
you showed me
memory
that
there as
song.
well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's a
Yeah.
gem. Definitely
Yeah.
a gem. I was actually introduced to Clear Soul by this app, the Pattern, and on there I met this person. Her name is Ashley. She's from Tennessee,
Mm.
and so she shared. Um, in your arms and young love with me,
So
and
good.
it's very wholesome. So yeah, Clear Soul, some Yeba. I don't know if that's how you
Mm.
pronounce her name.
Yeah,
There's specifically the song Evergreen. I wrote
th-
something last night while
that's a
listening
great
to the
song.
song. I'm also, oh,
Have you heard her
Sunshine.
song? Sorry, she has a song with Luke something, and it's called Smoke. Have you heard the song? Okay,
I
I'll have to
haven't.
share it with you. Her vocals on that are crazy.
Yaba's voice is on another level, guys. Like,
Yeah.
specifically, there's this song. What's this? Waterfall in brackets. I adore you. Like it's such a moody song, you know. But the lyrics, when I listened, there's this one particular lyric where she says, "But what remains is love is whatever we make it tonight."
Mm. Mm.
And I'm like, wow, that's powerful. Like it reminds me of your book, and you have to publish that book.
Oh, I am. I am. I know. It's literally just sitting there. It's just
You
sitting
have to
there. I
publish that
will.
book.
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
It reminds me of, yeah, like that just that lyric encompasses, like, you know, everything that you have in your song. Like love is means different things to different people, and you know the best thing you can do is just focus on what it is for you right now with the person that you are with in that moment, at the very least, you know.
Yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
yeah, Samieba, and I listen to a lot of lo-fi, chill hop. Well, especially from chill hop music. Those guys, like, if I'm ever gonna be signed to any record label, it would have to be chill hop music.
Mm,
Those
that's
guys
very
make
much your
amazing
vibe.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every other day, I'm like, I want to make this too. Teach me, please. You know, I'm also listening to a lot of folk music as well. Katie Morella, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Wonderful. Oh, sorry, I butchered her surname. It's definitely Katie Melua.
Mm.
Wonderful life. Yeah, wonderful. It's a wonderful. But anyway, I shall not torture people's ears. um, and there's this movie. I think the next time we get to do this, we must it must be about movies. That's because
Oh,
that's the other thing
yes.
that,
Yes. I'm a movie
yes, it must
person.
definitely,
That's
we
my
must talk
thing.
movies.
Music and movies. Yes.
Music and movies, like the secret life of Walter Mitty. The songs on there are meticulously, you know, selected. They just create this vibe. So there's this song on there. For some reason I can't remember the name of the song. If you just give me a moment, I'll find it.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen this movie.
The Wolves and Ravens. The Wolves and Ravens by Rogue Valley.
Mm.
Um, Alexi Murdoch, Orange Sky, and a song for you. All of that is folk. And then one of the other things I have on my playlist here is some mantra and devotional music. Um, I'm not religious at all, and the reason for that is because I think it has to be around 20 from 2013 actually. From 2013 I started to like really listen to you know, mantras and devotional music, both Buddhist and Hindu mantras, and Sikh. Sikh, I don't know how to pronounce it, but
I think it's sick.
Sikhism,
Or yeah. Yeah.
something along those. Oh, that's Sikh, son. But anyway, So yeah, I listened to a lot of that as well. Like, and I'm sorry if I'm really butchering their names, but Snatam Kaur, uh, Deva Premal, yeah, it's, quite a number of them. And there's, you know, songs like, or mantras like Ad Guri Name have, yeah, I think that have bridged the gap for me to deepen my spirituality, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, the words for the song Ad Guri Name, it's Ad Guri Name, to God Guri Name. I forgot the rest of it. Gee whiz.
Uh-oh.
but but anyway, the first line Ad Guri Name means I surrender to uh
Oh, you say that in the
to the
song.
primal wisdom. Yeah. Ad
I
Guri
just
Name.
put that together. What song is that? I surrender.
What I think that was a new beginning.
Okay. Wow, I just put that together. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like that particular mantra was the first one that I like really got into it. Like I'm like, wow, there's a certain frequency in their music that you don't get anywhere else. To start with, I'm just noticing how they like to mix their instruments as well. There is bass in their songs, but it's very light.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of glides, it carries you through a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put that into what I do in some other way. And these guys can sing. Gee whiz, they are amazing vocalists as well. So yeah, what else am I listening to? I listen to a lot of stuff, and I bounce around these genres quite a lot. Some Oh
I
yeah,
do.
and some West African, and basically a lot of African music
Mm-hmm.
from the Sahara, from West Africa. And I would not be able to pronounce their names or anything, but they it's some of the vibiest or most rhythmic music you could ever hear. I'm looking at, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's okay. Amudu by Sarah and Ishmael. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful song. There's this guy, Vio. He's from Mali. He collaborated with, and again, like, if anybody can help me pronounce this band's name, but it sounds like Kuruwangbin or something like that. They make
Oh,
some
Krugabin. I
folk
think.
Krugerbin. Oh, that's how you
I
pronounce.
think that's how I pronounce it. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
correct pronunciation, but yeah.
So yeah, they collaborated with Vio. There's a song, Dairabi. I think that's how you pronounce it. So it's one of those, and um, yeah, like there's a lot of these guys. I would not be able to, like,
Pronounce it.
actually tell you they names, but like, it's well, here's one that I think I can pronounce, Bombino, and this
Mm.
particular song, Midi One. It means my friends. I don't know what language that is, and yeah, okay, what's her name? Fatomata Daiwara. On her, this one is my favorite song by her all time. It's Kano. I think that's how you pronounce it. Then there's also some Sona Jobrete. I think is she where is she from? I think she's from Gambia.
Mm.
Might be mistaken, but there's this particular song, Fasia. It's another beautiful one. And then occasionally I listen to some reggae, your Bob Marleys, your Toots and the Mitals. Actually, my dad introduced me to reggae, even though he he later on came back to say, "Why are you listening to reggae? Are you smoking weed now?"
Yes, Dad.
Yeah. So, yo, hey, if I want a bitch slap, that's what I'll say. um, yeah, some dance hall, like your Sizzlers, your Morgan Heritages, your Anthony B's. Got introduced to that when I was in high school as well, by a friend of mine who's from Zimbabwe. They dance hall, reggae and dance hall is very big over there. Um, I think Bob Marley still had like a bigger picture for his life. He really wanted to come to Africa and perform here, and the only place he could actually get to was Zimbabwe.
Hmm.
And it's special in that way. I think there might be like a performance or two on YouTube of him performing in Zimbabwe. That's what I'm gonna hang out with for the rest of the weekend.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, yeah. So that's like in a nutshell. Because I listen to a lot of stuff. My
Yeah, I'm the
palette is
same
very
way.
wide.
I am the same way. I think um I think we are gonna wrap here pretty soon. Was there any last things that you wanted to touch on or share?
Uh, I want to say first and foremost, to you, I really appreciate having this moment with you,
Of course.
getting to hear your stories, and getting to know you in a language that I am very fluent in. Yeah, if I don't ever get to say the important things, I'll at least be able to say it through a song. I'll share music with
Yeah.
you.
Likewise, likewise.
Yeah, yeah, and uh, to anybody who's listening, um, yeah, for me, and I think for Unique as well, music is our gateway. But feel good.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to feel good. Have sunshine in your heart, no matter what, and and keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Find a
Keep the
song.
faith.
Bonus
Yeah,
points if you can find a song that's a soundtrack to that, but that's the goal.
yeah, yeah. For me, it's different songs throughout my life, and I think for anybody else, it's the same thing. Different songs throughout their lives, right? But have sunshine in your heart. I
Yeah.
cannot tell you how important that is.
Yeah. Especially now, the world is looking very crazy, very questionable, depending on your perspective and how you look at it. But that's something that you can always carry with you and keep with you for sure.
Yeah, I don't watch the news. I
I don't either.
don't.
I get bombarded by it by
I've.
people at work. They're like, "Did you see this? Did
Mm,
you see this?" I'm like, No, no." And if
no,
you wouldn't have
thank
brought it
you.
to me, I still would not know. I would not be in the know, and I don't want to be in the know.
I would be. I don't want to be in the know. Like
Yeah,
I've had debates where things like, but you have to face reality, and the question is, what is reality, other than what you choose
exactly,
to observe? Yes,
exactly.
there are things that are happening in the world, but you can choose to observe love, you can choose to observe beauty, you can choose to observe healing, and
Come
if we do that
on,
collectively, then where's the crime? Where's
exactly.
the hate?
I'm
You know
I'm
what I
I'm
mean?
waking up
So,
in gratitude. I'm thankful. I'm grateful.
word,
My heart is open. I'm receptive. My thoughts are clear. My energy is high. I'm vibrating at a high frequency.
word, yeah. Ooh, spiraling upwards.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
that. I love that.
Okay. Before we close out, I do just want to once again thank you for being on. This was such a treat for me and hopefully to anybody listening. as we mentioned earlier, we did just recently drop a project, the Moments Experiment. Very it was a journey, for sure, a journey, and it's an
Mm-hmm.
experiment and a very unique tape, unlike anything that I'm sure you've ever heard before. I will put a link in the description to where you can listen to it and support us. And we thank you for listening. And until next time,
Love and light.
love and light.